All right, everybody, welcome to BO Boys for Sunday, December 15th. Fuck it, it's a raw feed. We're doing it live. I'm Pat.
And yeah, I'm Chris. Back to potentially take Clayton's co-host spot. I guess we'll have to see how the episode goes. Looking for another promotion.
Here we go. Because on the last episode, Clayton, he's on assignment. We're not going to say where he is. He's safe. The last time he was gone, he didn't like the fact that me and we talked about his head getting cut off, kicking around on the chat shows. That's not the case. He's safe. He's doing well. Is he undergoing cosmetic surgeries? Who knows? We're not gonna speculate there, but he's safe. But on the last episode, Christopher, he talked about how he was giving his blessing that you were going to be the guest host on this episode while he was gone. Gave a tearful, emotional blessing of you, and you come out of the gate and announce yourself as wanting to take his job. And all I got to say is that's what I love about you, Christopher. you don't take shit from anybody, but welcome here. So I gotta ask you, how is schooling going right now? What part of the year are you at? The part where you're just partying, you guys are pranking each other in Santa outfits, it's, you're shoving Christmas lights up people's rear ends, whatever college kids do. Is that what you're at right now in the school year?
So all of that has actually happened for the most part already. There will be a little bit more of Christmas lights being shoved places, but we're gearing up for finals week right now, so everyone's kind of studying, dislodging all their Christmas lights and all that jazz. But by the end of the week, there'll be a few more celebrations for sure before everyone goes back home.
Great. Okay, so people had to dislodge the Christmas lights to study. And
because it gets
relodge
uncomfortable
them
when you're sitting down for all those hours in the library, so you got to like take them out.
Yep.
And then obviously when finals are over, you can get back up to the fun stuff.
Relodge again. Okay,
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
So Christopher, you probably got a lot of numbers in your head, because I know you study the numbers, so you're getting tested on the numbers. But here, I'm going to give us the numbers that count. I'm going to do a plow for the box office weekend of Friday, December 13th. So I'm going to plow right now. And, listen, I hope Clayton is proud of what we're about to do here. So this is for Friday, December 13th. Number one was Moana 2 with $26.6 million, a drop of 48% from last week. It is, and it dropped 200 theaters. It's now up to $337 million domestic after 3 weekends. Number two, Wicked, $22.5 million, drop of 38%. It dropped 196 screens and is now up to $359 million after 4 weekends. Number three, a newbie, Kraven the Hunter from Sony, $11 million. It no theater change because it's its first weekend, and it's at $11 million total domestic. Number four, Gladiator 2 made $7.8 million, drop of 38%, dropped 216 theaters. It is now up to $145.9 million domestic after 4 weekends in release. Number five, another newbie, Warner Brothers contractual obligation, The Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim, made $4.6 million in its first weekend. And we'll go down a few more. Number six, Red One, drops out of the top 5 for the first time in its 5th weekend, made $4.4 million, dropped 147 theaters. It's up to $92 million domestic. And just want to point out, number 7, Interstellar, from our former dead horse, Christopher Nolan, who, of course, has redeemed himself since the pandemic. Interstellar made another $3.3 million in a mostly IMAX re-release. It is now up to $199 million, $0.799 domestic. So it is only $201,000 away from hitting $200 million. So, Christopher, let's start there with this Interstellar situation. $200,000 in change, and it gets to the clean $200 million. Warner Brothers has to has to figure out, or I'm sorry, Paramount Pictures. That's Paramount. Paramount's got to figure out how to get this $200,000. Am I correct? I mean, they at this point can't pull it.
I mean, I'm pretty sure this has already been extended for another week or two. So I think it has to hit it because they were seeing how good it's been doing. And I mean, they don't have to give up screens until next Friday, or this upcoming Friday at least. So I think it's definitely going to cross that mark for sure.
Okay, so you think the days for Interstellar could get it there before Thursday night when, you know, Sonic the Hedgehog is coming out, and that's a Paramount movie. I mean, does Paramount go to Sonic and say, buddy, we got to ask you a favor. Can we get some of your IMAX screens on Friday night for Nolan? You know, and maybe here's a promise. Maybe someday Nolan directs a Sonic movie as a favor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I mean, I think they have to do it, whatever you can do to get that to that over $200 million. I mean, it's such a threshold, and that honestly, Paramount probably wants Nolan too. I mean, I know he's over at Universal right now, but any way to try and maybe usurp him, like Universal usurped him from Warner Brothers, you got to do what you got to do to get Nolan. So maybe stealing some Sonic IMAX screens away from him to give it to Interstellar, I say do it.
Yeah, and maybe it's not a feature. I mean, Nolan, he's probably looking at the rest of his life and saying, all right, when a filmmaker like him, he looks at his life in quantities of movies. So he's probably looking, I got 7 movies left, say. Mm-hmm. Do I want one of my final movies to be a Sonic movie? That's probably a tough sell for Christopher Nolan, but maybe Paramount could say, listen, we're going to get Interstellar over 200. Sonic's going to do you a solid. Could you direct a Sonic short for Paramount Plus? Yeah. I mean, that's a possibility.
Yeah, maybe the next spinoff. Yeah, maybe the next spinoff show they have on Paramount Plus that you get Nolan to direct it. He spends like 3 days there. It's all blue screen and whatever. He does his job for who knows how much money. Who knows how much money they're going to pay him. Right. And he does his thing and then leaves. And they get to say directed by Christopher Nolan. Yes.
And he screws the sound up and you can't understand what Sonic is saying. And his fans will love that. The Nolan fans will love that. People don't know what the hell Sonic is saying. So they got to figure something
Especially
out.
Especially while he's running. Just like forget it. Yeah.
Yes. Of course, because the sound of Sonic's feet hitting the ground in a Nolan movie will be so loud. It'll be so loud. Okay, so let's get into it. Kraven the Hunter. That's the newbie. Yeah. It opened to $11 million. So to put that in context, it opened to significantly less than Madam Web did earlier this year. It opened to less than, and this is a movie we love, but something like The Beekeeper last January, a sort of low-budget action movie, is beating Kraven the Hunter. It opened less than something like a year plus ago, like A Plane, starring Jerry Butler, opened bigger than Kraven. I mean, this is, and those are not movies we're saying are bombs, but Kraven the Hunter is a $100 million superhero movie that just opened to $11 million. Christopher, you are Penn State, as am I. I'm Penn State.
Hey, got it. Always roughing, of course.
You got it. That's why you don't get the whole story. Listen to the podcast. You got to go watch us on YouTube to see Christopher's Penn State shirt, his hoodie. He is Penn State. I am Penn State. Clayton,
as of last weekend, you're Penn State, right? Is that how it
went? I've been Penn State. I'm just not. I haven't been vocally Penn State the way.
Oh, okay. You've been a quiet Penn State fan.
I am quiet Penn State.
See, I think you're the first one of those I've ever met. Yes. I didn't think those existed. That's interesting.
Quiet, reserved Penn State. And I'm glad Clayton has gotten on the bandwagon. It's great
I know,
to see.
It's about time, right?
So, on the campus of Penn State, was there any buzz for this Kraven the Hunter? When you were going to these wild holiday parties on campus and people are shoving lights wherever, was anyone saying, hey, bro, are we going to Kraven next week?
No, everyone was still talking about Glicked. When I came back to campus after Thanksgiving, all anyone could talk about was either when they went to see Gladiator, when they went to see Wicked, and sometimes even both. So that was the main plans over Thanksgiving.
Wow. Okay. I mean, Glicked was huge on campus. People were beer ponging, they're crushing cans, and they're talking about Glicked.
Yeah, they were saying, "Let's get glicked, man. Come on, guys, let's go get glicked."
Oh, okay. Can you legally on air tell us what that means when a modern college kid says to one of their bros, or sisters, whatever, let's get glicked? Is it legal?
I'm not sure it's safe for the wannabe babies out there.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. Is it an illegal act to
it
get
depends
glicked?
on the context. It depends on the context.
Oh, wow.
It has variety to it.
Okay. Is it the type of thing though that gets the people who get glicked on campus? Are they more likely to go see the movie, or are they possibly physically unable to see a movie after they get glicked?
They might be physically unable to, but that only makes them want to see it more. It's the waiting to have to see it now that makes them want to see it even more.
So you're at a party, your frat bro comes over to you, you're like, hey, let's get glicked. You get glicked together. A couple of days later, you got to go see Wicked.
Now you're in it. Now you have to.
Wow. Is this something that developed organically on campus, or did the Universal marketing team have anything to do with teaching the college kids how to get glicked?
I think the Universal marketing team did a little bit, but honestly, I think it was a natural thing. Everyone just wanted a piece of it.
Wow. Okay. So Gentle Minions was phase 1. Getting glicked on campus is phase 2.
Yeah.
Wow. This is huge. See, this is, listen, me and Clayton are obviously great. We're the best who's ever done this, of course. But it is why your perspective is so important, because, we've been talking about Wicked and Gladiator for 3 weeks now, 4 weeks it's been out. And we didn't know that kids on campus were getting glicked. We did not know this.
Now you do.
This is the type of thing that makes me think, and this is a great project for you to work on with us now as VP of Interns. Do me and Clayton need to go undercover on campus sometime in the next year to sort of experience things, these movie-related college acts like getting glicked and sort of, we'll put on the wigs, we'll put on the cool new glasses or whatever you guys wear, and we go undercover as college kids to find out about this stuff.
Oh yeah, I definitely think the BO boys should do their take on like 21 Jump Street or something. I think that's real. That's how you get some real boots on the ground reporting, because you're getting it right from the source.
Yes,
right from the main demographic that everyone wants. I say you guys go do it, and honestly, maybe even try high school too, because that's also where everyone wants to get all those kids. You got to see what they're thinking about movies. You got to go undercover.
Wow. Okay. I mean, I think we've got to take the legal system into account here. So I think it's safer if Clayton and I legally go undercover as college kids for things like getting glicked, and that way you're there to introduce us, to say, hey, these bros are cool.
Oh yeah, of course.
They're my bros they're from a the same frat in a different college. And so, let them in.
They're just looking to get glicked. That's all I have to say, and they'll know you guys are cool.
Yes. Okay, so that's huge. So because you can't understand the run of these movies without studying the college life. So I think 2025, that's a big project. Clayton and I, the BO boys, coming to a college near you undercover. So, okay, so the college kids, they're getting glicked. They've been excited about Wicked, excited about Gladiator. No one's getting hunted.
No one is getting hunted. No, and I don't think anyone wants to be hunted either. I don't even think people know hunting exists, honestly.
Wow.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised.
So they don't know where their food comes from anymore in college campuses?
No, not at all.
It's just, it comes from the cafeteria.
Yeah, whatever slob they got cooking up that day.
Right. Or DoorDash. If you're a college kid, you're like, how do people get food? They DoorDash it.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you were to, at a party, go up to a bro or a lady and say, I want to hunt you, they wouldn't get it. They wouldn't be into that.
If anything, the lady might like run away in the opposite direction from me if I said that to her.
I mean, it makes sense when you look at the demographics of who went to go see Kraven this weekend, because it was heavily male. It was heavily male. So it makes total sense that if on campus you went to a co-ed, a woman, and said you want to get hunted, they would have no idea because they were not going to see this Kraven the Hunter movie.
Exactly.
Yeah. So no one cared about this. I mean, Christopher, just how bad is this? $11 million for what is still actually a Marvel movie. Like, spin it however you want. Oh, it's a Sony verse. It's a Spider-Man. But this is a Marvel movie that just opened to 11 million. I mean, how much of a disaster is this? Even if it was expected.
I mean, like, where do they go from here? Because, like, all the spin-off movies outside of Venom haven't worked. And even clearly, Venom is sort of losing steam. I know he was kind of about even with the last one, but there was still a slight drop, especially worldwide. And it's just like how do you keep doing these villain movies without Spider-Man? I mean, the only other one I can think that would maybe work is if you do like a Green Goblin Joker style, but Joker clearly only has one movie in him. So how many of those can you even do? So it's like how do you keep going forward from here without Spider-Man? But Spider-Man's over at Marvel and they probably don't want to screw that up either.
That's a really interesting one, because when we talk about these Spider-Man Villainverse movies that they did, they're doing Madam Web, they did Morbius, they did this Kraven the Hunter, like the real bottom of the barrel, the real scum of the earth IP. And they didn't do a one-off Doc Ock movie or a one-off Green Goblin. And I do wonder if that is the way they're going to have to go, because the lesson from this should be give up, Sony. Stop doing movies. Well, I mean, they do their animated movies, and those, do great. But the lesson should be you got to stop. But I do wonder if you're right, if the lesson might be, we need to go with the bigger, more known villains. And so we've got to go with a solo dramatic Green Goblin movie. I guess there even though Joker 2 bombed, I guess there is something to say, hey, if we get the right director and don't let them go too nuts like Joker 2, we could win an Oscar for someone playing the Green Goblin.
Yeah. But I just mean, like, do people even care anymore at this point if they don't even see Spider-Man? Like I just don't know. And especially someone like Green Goblin, I feel like is so tied to Spider-Man. And so, I mean, I guess they did it without Venom, which was like, I mean, I guess there's ways to figure it out, but it's just...
And Joker, you would think if you're going to have Joker, you got to have Batman there. And they didn't have Batman, and Joker won himself an Oscar and made $1 billion. So could you get a Austin Butler, look who best actor last year was Cillian Murphy, and he's been in these Batman movies. Could you get Cillian Murphy to play a fully dramatic Green Goblin?
I don't know. It depends on how many zeros you add to that check, I think.
Right.
I think that's, especially with the state of that universe right now, that's what they got to do.
Right. Yeah, I think that could be a way to go, is a fully dramatic Joker-style Green Goblin or Doc Ock movie. But barring that, they got to stop with these. Yeah. Well, here's my other pitch for what Sony could do with these characters is Deadpool and Wolverine. Huge hit over the summer, right? Mm-hmm. What was one of the things that Deadpool and Wolverine... other than Deadpool teaming up with Wolverine, what was the other thing that movie was sort of based around, would you say? The sort of like surprise +1 of what Deadpool and Wolverine did.
Oh, like all the castaway heroes that they brought back?
Yes, they brought back all the Fox superhero movies from movies that bombed, Elektra, Elektra with Jennifer Garner. I mean, they brought back Blade, which those movies were hits, but they brought in Johnny Storm from the Fantastic Four movies that didn't do well. Is there a having a loft, taking a piss, Sony Villainverse movie where you get Jared Leto's Morbius, Dakota Johnson's Madam Web, and Aaron Taylor Johnson's Kraven the Hunter in a we're making fun of how bad we are and how much we stink type of movie?
See, I think all those people take themselves way too seriously to do that. I mean, like you saw how wooden she was in Madam Web. Like, how you think she's gonna be able to pull off that tongue-cheek coy thing that Deadpool can do? Like, no way. I mean, Jared Leto, imagine him trying to be funny too, and then Aaron Taylor Johnson, like, who I don't even think anyone would want him back anyway because no one saw that movie.
Yeah, and it would have to be. I guess the thing is, Deadpool and Wolverine did have Deadpool and Wolverine, and they got to make fun of Johnny Storm and these characters. So you would need Venom in this movie to make fun of how shitty Kraven the Hunter is to his face. Yeah. That's what you would need. Or I guess you could have someone. You could do the Doc Ock movie that way, where Doc Ock ends up with Madam Web and Kraven and Morbius, and he's just making fun of them.
Yeah, but you got to bring in the big guns. Someone has to be the comedian.
Right. So not Kyle Mooney, you would say, not Y2K's Kyle Mooney as Doc Ock.
Yeah, definitely not.
Yeah. Is PewDiePie still big with college kids, or is the PewDiePie days over? Could PewDiePie be Doc Ock in a Doc Ock standalone movie where it's him making fun of Morbius, Madam Web, and Kraven the Hunter?
I think if you're doing that, you maybe have to go like more of a Mr. Beast route, or that. Like, I think he'd be the guy that you could replace that could do that.
Okay, so
and you make it into one of like his viral YouTube challenges, like watch me try to play Doc Ock in this terrible movie for like 30 days on set or something, and see if he can actually like make it through with how terrible everything's going and do all that.
So the challenge is, can he get through it himself?
Yeah, can he get through? Yeah, like filming this actual movie.
Okay, this is a great idea for Sony because it's Mr. Beast's first acting role, which whenever that does happen, that's going to be huge, and he gets to use his wiseacre persona, which I think is his persona. I haven't watched a lot of Mr. Beast, but
yeah,
you have him in there, Mr. Beast as Doc Ock, and he's sort of like a real life Doc Ock. He's just manipulating human beings in these experiments. He's Doc Ock. He's making fun of Kraven, Madam Web, and Morbius, just shitting all over them, which is the only thing people want out of those characters.
Yeah.
And it's a Mr. Beast challenge video because the making of the movie is a Mr. Beast video, which is going to get like 7 billion views.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's the way to go if you're going to continue these Sony Villainverse movies. Mr. Beast as Doc Ock making fun of, and they got to come back to play him, Dakota Johnson, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Jared Leto. I love it. Other than that specific example, you can't make these movies anymore. They have to stop.
Yeah, you got to stop.
How bad is this? I'm gonna throw this at you. How bad is this for Aaron Taylor Johnson? He's the guy who the rumors keep saying that the Broccolis, who are people, they are not, they are people named
they're
broccoli.
not. Yeah, they're not food.
They're not food. They are human beings who own the rights to the James Bond franchise. James Bond is owned by Broccolis.
Mm-hmm.
And the Broccolis, they have been rumored to be hot on Aaron Taylor Johnson as the guy they're finally going to go with for the next James Bond. Could this movie be the thing that costs him that? Is it that bad? Let me hear your take on it. Is it that bad?
I think it might be, but also with how good that 28 Days trailer might be, he might have bought himself 6 months of time to be like, hey guys, I know I screwed this first one up really bad, but just wait. Let me show you what I can really do, because I think that movie has the potential to really break out. So I think he bought himself 6 months of time to like say, hey, let me show you what I can actually do.
That's a great point. he needs that. I don't think today, if you are a broccoli, and if you're a broccoli who's listening to this show right now, or
which we know they do, one of them has to.
There has to be one broccoli who's listening, and they pass it on to the other broccolis.
Mm-hmm.
Broccolis, you can't cast him today. You cannot make that announcement on Christmas Eve, saying, "Huge Christmas Eve present. Look under your tree. What do you got?" Open up the package. It's an announcement that Aaron Taylor Johnson is playing James Bond. You cannot do that right after Kraven the Hunter opens to $11 million. That cannot happen. Yeah, he if the contracts were with the lawyers a week ago, I think they've been yanked out of the lawyers' hands right now.
Oh yeah, definitely.
This is terrible. How bad is this? I guess for Russell Crowe, it doesn't mean anything, right? Russell Crowe, his life tomorrow is the same as his life was on Friday, no matter what, whether it's open to 80 million or 11 million.
Yeah.
So here's something I've been thinking of, because the superhero thing, it's not just on the wane, it's cratering. It's, a couple of characters will still do well, legacy characters, but superheroes at this point, I think, have turned into a negative where audiences have to be won over to go see a superhero movie.
Yeah, I completely agree, especially with like even main Marvel. Like, I don't think I think that Captain America 4 is definitely an uphill battle. All those other movies are going to be an uphill battle too. It's kind of just one rough patch after the other. I mean, this new Superman movie, who knows what the hell's going to happen with that one, like in July. It definitely seems like to be uphill battles for now.
Superman has to fly away from the same weekend as Jurassic Park. Or I think it's within a week.
Yeah, I think Superman and then Jurassic Park is the week after.
Those dinosaurs are going to forget kryptonite. It doesn't matter. The dinosaur's teeth are made out of kryptonite, or the dinosaurs will say, "Fuck this! I'm just eat his head off" at the box office. Superman is going to be a disaster if it opens anywhere near that Jurassic Park movie. But I agree. Something like Kraven the Hunter, and what a joke it is, and how much people just will viscerally hate the idea of another superhero movie, it's going to have an effect on Captain America Brave New World in a couple of months. People are just going to be, I can't with this anymore.
I know there's another one like already. Like I thought it was just here.
I thought, yes, they're going to look at this and say, is that Kraven? Is the shield the Kraven shield? Is that his hunting shield? I can't with these shields and this Kraven.
It's the Kraven effect affects everything. It doesn't stop.
Yeah. I do think that if something like Shazam had never existed and it just opened now, that first Shazam movie, the first one opened to what, 56 million? The second one, of course, was a terrible bomb. Could you imagine if in 3 weeks Shazam starring Zachary Levi was opening? Would that thing open to like $2 million? The same exact movie.
I think you could put that in the early January release spot, and it would probably open as much as it would in like mid-March or the summer.
Yeah. It would be coming at this end of the superhero cycle. Something like Shazam, which made 150 total. That movie would have made like $13-14 million total if it opened in January.
Yeah.
The people are so done with these movies. We did get some emails actually about the Kraven Effect, so I'm just gonna take a quick dip into the mailbag here. Someone said this: Kraven Effect. The subject is Kraven Effect on Nosferatu, and this is from Wannabe Oh Boy Max, who of course sent us some great artwork of various Paddington Piss situations that are up on our social media. So Max said this: Aaron Taylor Johnson is also in Nosferatu this December, and he is getting horrible reviews based on his performance. saying it feels like a child's play acting on stage and he doesn't fit in the time period. You boys predicted that Dracula's box office poison, and having Kraven star in gothic fairy tale doesn't fare well for the box office for Nosferatu this winter. So, I mean, do you think that Aaron Taylor Johnson and the Kraven Effect is going to hurt Nosferatu in 2 weeks?
No, because I think Focus Features did the right thing of hiding he's actually in the movie. Like, I totally actually kind of forgot he's even in it. I don't think his name's on the poster or anything anywhere. So I think people, it might hurt the legs because people are going to walk out of that movie and go, oh my God, that guy who's just in Kraven. I think we saw him in that movie. Like, I wouldn't go see this one either because he's in it.
Right.
But I think for that opening weekend in those first few days, at least, the movie should remain unaffected by that, hopefully.
Okay, that's again, it's a tough spot to be in as a aspiring movie star, and the Broccoli's have to notice things like this where Aaron Taylor Johnson is in Nosferatu and the studio is hiding him because they know that he would negatively affect the box office. Like, if you're the Broccoli's and you know that strategy's out there, and now they know it because we just talked about it.
Yeah.
That's got to affect. We can't hide the guy who's playing James Bond when we release a James Bond movie. That's a lot harder.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's like when, I was a youngster when GoldenEye came out, and it was Pierce Brosnan in his GoldenEye in 007 GoldenEye, whatever,
Yeah.
It was Pierce Brosnan. It was loud and clear. He's going to be James Bond in GoldenEye. It wasn't GoldenEye and don't ask us who's playing Bond, which would be what you have to do if you put Aaron Taylor Johnson in a James Bond movie. The poster would have to say, James Bond movie, don't ask us who's playing him.
What if they filmed the movie with him, but then all the poster marketing materials, they hide it and just put Daniel Craig's face on everything and just be like, hey, this is that you guys want to see the new James Bond movie. Maybe everyone just doesn't totally forgot what happened in the last one. Yeah. And then they show up and boom, that's when it's Aaron Taylor Johnson.
I could see that being what happens because Daniel Craig famously, he hates playing James Bond. He's hated it since I think halfway through the first time he played James Bond. He does not want to play him, but I'm sure he likes the money you get for playing James Bond. So they might be able to the Broccoli's throw him some cash to be like, we're going to put your face on the poster. And he's like, hey, I don't. But they're no. You don't have to play James Bond. You're not in the movie. You never have to come on set. Yep. We got this other dope who everyone hates. He's going to play him, but we just can't put his face on the poster because he was Kraven the Hunter.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think that's what you have to do.
That's what you have to do. That's what the Broccoli's have to do if they cast this Kraven the Hunter as James Bond. We got another email about the Kraven Effect. So this is from Wannabe boy Alex, and the subject is Red One Noticed. So he starts, hi Clayton and Pat. Hearing you discuss the major psychological impact that the Kraven Effect has had on many of us made me want to come out and share my struggle with another recent movie-based ailment. My wannabe wife wanted to see Red One in theaters this week due to the Christmas theme around it. I stupidly made us watch Dwayne Johnson's Streamo movie Red Notice prior, thinking it was a sequel to that. The name, the general type of film, and going from Ryan Reynolds to Chris Evans made me think it was just a continuation of a bad film. I knew this was an Amazon film and thought Dwayne just sold the sequel to someone that would let him bomb in theaters first. Am I the only one that was under this impression? It'd be nice to know that I am not alone in this. Thanks, wannabe, oh boy, Alex. So basically, he watched the film Red Notice, the Netflix movie with The Rock and Ryan Reynolds that came out 2 years ago, and thought that was the first in a series, and Red One was the second film in the Red series. So, Christopher, do you know anyone? I know you're not afflicted with this because, you're wannabe oh boy, and you know better. Also, if you were afflicted with this, just want to let you know, the health insurance plan we're on does not cover this ailment. Okay.
Okay.
It does not cover it. They would deny you immediately if you tried to get a medical procedure for Kraven Effect, Red One Effect. They would deny you. So just letting you know that is what they would do.
For now I know not to get those. I'll try my best.
I mean, it's a problem. It's a problem for, I think, a lot of people in this country, is that if you get the Kraven Effect and you try and get surgery, they're gonna deny you.
Yeah.
And that's bad. So do you know anyone who suffered from, I mean, I guess either the Kraven Effect, where they thought that Kraven the Hunter had opened 2 years ago, or this Red One Effect, where they thought Red One was a sequel to Red Notice? Do you know anyone who's suffering from these ailments in your life? You know, and obviously you're not a doctor, so HIPAA doesn't apply to you. You could share their medical histories here.
So first, I'd just like to say I'm so sorry. I can't imagine the symptoms you have after finishing Red Notice and not realizing that and Red One are not the same at all.
Yeah.
That just must be terrible. So my heart really truly goes out to him. But
thoughts and prayers, of course, but not insurance covering the medical procedures.
Yeah, definitely no. These thoughts and prayers are not covered by insurance for sure.
Yeah.
But then also, I do not know anyone that's suffered from either of these things, especially like for Kraven. I think you'd have to know it's coming out first, and I think that was part of an issue for a lot of people here on campus. And then I think people probably forgot Red Notice even existed. Like, they probably don't even see it on Netflix. Netflix probably has it so buried that you have to like go searching out for it. And most of these people just turn on Netflix and just choose whatever they kind of throw at you and say, this is the good garbage you should have today.
Right.
So I think unless you did some research that didn't end up working out too well, I don't think this should happen to anyone, and no one else that I know.
Well, so I think what you're saying is there's a lot of undiagnosed cases of the Kraven Effect or the Red Notice Effect, where people have it, but they don't know that they have it. They
won't know until obviously they listen to this episode of the BO Boys and everything just clicks and they're like, oh my God, this is what I have.
Right. So it's like things like the BO Boys, or if you pick up a Variety or the Wrap, those are triggering effects for people who have dormant cases of the Kraven Effect or of Red Notice Effect. Like, they have it, it's in their system, but they don't see the symptoms unless they see a poster for Kraven the Hunter coming out now, which there's not a lot of, or they see Red Notice on their Netflix homepage.
These are definitely the silent killers. So if every one of your friends and family you think might be suffering from these, just make sure they stay away from the trades.
Yes.
Don't let them listen to the trades, especially because, like we said, this is not covered by insurance.
It's not covered.
So if they suffer that triggering event, it's all coming out of pocket.
Yes.
So just make sure to keep the trades away from them.
Yes, because if your Kraven Effect symptoms start showing, and you try and get this necessary medical help, insurance will deny you. So you've got to defend yourself by not reading the trades and not finding out that Kraven is actually open this past weekend and not 2 years ago. Because you cannot trigger the Kraven Effect because there's nothing that could be done. Well, there's things that could be done, but you'd have to pay out of pocket, and it's very costly. So that is. Listen, we're trying to help. We're trying to keep people healthy out there, and it's tough these days. So thank you, wannabe boy Alex, for sharing your story. So he's got a tough road ahead of him, wannabe boy Alex, because his Red Notice Effect has been triggered, and his wife as well.
Yeah, it's contagious. It really is contagious.
Yeah, and it's a tough situation because they both have it now. So who is there to take care of them? Because they can't take care of each other. But I hope, the main thing is I hope he's able to continue listening because, those downloads, they're very important.
Once it's already triggered, you might as well, there's no point not.
Yeah, exactly. Just ride it out at this point. That's the best we could say.
That's all you can do at this point.
Ride it out, stay indoors, hydrate, and just see you on the other side, we hope.
Yeah.
So that is, I think that's all to say about this Kraven. Let's move over quickly to Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim.
Yeah.
Of the Rohirrim. So this was, I mean, it's pretty much been confirmed what I've been speculating about a month ago. This was Warner Brothers needed to just shit out a Lord of the Rings movie to not lose the rights to make future Lord of the Rings movies. So they went with the cheapest version they can, which is animation from their TV animation studio.
And it's like technically anime too, I think. So, I mean, who knows what they get to pay those workers overseas. So,
right.
Because I think the reported budget was for like $30 million. So I bet like down the way, there's enough Lord of the Rings like extremists that it'll make its money back someday.
Right.
But yeah, like you said, I mean, it's going to be a bomb in theaters. There was like, I don't think I ever saw any bit of actual marketing that wasn't a YouTube trailer or seeing this trailer in the movies. And honestly, I think I like barely have even seen this trailer before other movies. So like, I really don't think this really was them just like throwing it out there, trying to make it as quiet as possible, just releasing it to retain the rights, and then just like washing their hands clean and hoping this like Hunt for Gollum movie or whatever the hell they have planned next is the big hit.
Will this have any effect on the brand? This movie bombing as hard as it is, opening to, I mean, a couple of weeks ago we did the winter previews, even a Jeff Bach who knew this would be overall a bomb did think, okay, it's Lord of the Rings, it's got to open in the teens. I mean, this thing opened to $4.6 million. Yeah. Is there any effect where people start to think maybe Lord of the Rings isn't such a big deal anymore, or is it the fact that it's a cartoon? People just say,
I think it's this cartoon, and like not even that it's just a cartoon, but also like the animation style. Because I mean, like, who is this really for? I mean, because I don't think it's really for Lord of the Rings fans, because they like all their stuff in live action. Like that's the only time that Lord of the Rings works, and it's not for anime fans because it's too like this is an anime. So like, this is only for like those hardcore Lord of the Rings people that read all the appendices that this is like based off of that Tolkien wrote like 100 years ago or whenever he finished the book series.
Right. Yeah, I think they made the smart move by going cheapo animation rather than cheapo live action, which is because it'll make people think this isn't even really a Lord of the Rings movie, which is what they want. I think at this point they want people to disassociate this from actual Lord of the Rings whenever the next movie comes out. They want people to never even realize that this was part of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, no, definitely. The less people that see it, the better for Warner Brothers.
So I guess then this is a great opening weekend for this movie for Warner Brothers.
They wished it was lower, actually. The lower it goes, the better it is for them.
Right. Yeah. That is true. They were probably hoping, could this do Playmobil the movie numbers? Could so few people see it that it opens to under $1 million, and then no one will think of this movie as Lord of the Rings?
Exactly, yeah. They should do like a Edge of Tomorrow, Live, Die, Repeat situation where they just take off Lord of the Rings, re-release it in like a week or two, and then dump it on Max like a month later. Yeah. Just title it The War for the Rohirrim.
Yes. Or just take that, do LOTR and never say what LOTR means. Just do LOTR.
And then only the diehards will know.
Yes. Yeah. The people who are going to go, as long as they are alive, they'll go see that next Lord of the Rings movie no matter what. But you want the average person, the Joe Lunchpail, Susie Crocheter, to not think of this movie and its box office whenever the next Lord of the Rings movie comes out.
Yeah, definitely not.
So I guess then on that note, good job, Warner Brothers, on this $4.6 million opening weekend.
Yeah.
Because most people have no idea that it exists. Anything, because you haven't been on and we haven't had a chance to talk, anything else that you'd want to say on some of the holdovers? I mean, we know about getting glicked. Did you see Wicked? Have you Christopher, seen
I
Wicked?
have seen both. I went to both with friends, and yeah, everyone had a great time with both of them. But no one, all my friends are a little too old to go see Moana 2, so that has not happened yet.
Okay, so there's no drinking games or no pranks or no whatever is based around named after the Moana series on
Yeah,
campus.
no,
Okay.
that was a little bit after our time.
Okay, good. No one's getting Mauied.
No one is getting Maui. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, good to hear. The lawyers, that's the answer they wanted. They wanted to know that no one on campus is getting Mauied. So
The only other thing, I mean, I know we already talked about Interstellar a little bit, but just like the re-releases recently have been like, I think this is something more studios have to do, because I mean, remember Coraline earlier in the year made like over like it made like $10 to $20 million on its re-release for a film that honestly, like, wasn't that not even that big of a box office hit when it came out back in like 2009 or something. I don't. The only thing I really remember that's my version of the Sandworm. That movie has my Sandworm in it. Like that was the movie that scared me.
Wow.
I did not see it in theaters, so I didn't have something as like emotionally degrading as what happened to Clayton. But that movie did scare the shit out of me when I was a kid.
I love that the phrase you used was emotionally degrading.
I mean, what else would you call it?
Yes, that is what his psychiatrist would tell him. You were emotionally degrading in that instance. Yeah. So when the Coraline scare happened for you as a child, it wasn't a babysitter or someone that you were in love with that saw that reaction.
Yeah, no. I think it was just like my mom or something.
Okay, great. So that it didn't scar you for life. You're on campus. Everything's going well for you.
Yeah.
Great. They people want to catch, and this is a thing that when movie theaters back in the day started, they were based around putting old movies back out in the theater. Wizard of Oz, every couple of years you'd put it back out because it's the only, I mean, obviously back then it was the only way people could see any of these movies pre-television and then pre-VCR and VHS was you had to go see in the theater, so they'd have to re-release them. But I think it should break out of the Fathom Events ghetto and see more and more of these 1 week, 2 week re-releases. Because they are, if you pick the right movies and the right time of year, it works.
I mean, even speaking of Lord of the Rings, they had a re-release for all three of the movies in the trilogy, and that did decent. Like, it did better than a lot of people were thinking. Like, yeah, you just got to start re-releasing these movies.
So the movies that usually get re-released are big budget, action, sci-fi, special effects type movies often, or kids movies. It's your Coralines, it's your Nightmare Before Christmas every year, your Hocus Pocus. The type of movie that I don't see getting re-released are big hit comedy, studio comedy movies. And like comedy seems to be pretty dead at the box office now, other than when it's part of a Deadpool and Wolverine, and you're not getting your 80s, 90s, 2000s style like comedy star vehicle hits. Do you think there's any, would the bros and the co-eds on campus want to see re-releases of Austin Powers, of Old School, of Dumb and Dumber?
We're a little bit more of like The Neighbors or of like Pineapple Express. That was more when we grew up. We grew up the early 2010s, late 2000s, edgy R-rated like rom-coms and comedies. That's what we grew up. But yeah, like The Hangover, all those types of movies are still like some of my friends' favorite like comedy movies of all time that you can just like put on. It's just rewatched and rewatched. So I definitely think throwing some of those in can make some change.
Okay, so you re-release The Hangover, not the trilogy, but the first Hangover movie comes out in theaters. Could that be a bigger hit for Todd Phillips than Joker Folly You Do is re-release of the original Hangover? And would anything anger him more than the movie he probably hates, the first Hangover, making more money than Folly You Do did?
I think there's a strong chance that movie could make more.
Wow.
I mean, it would be hard not to with how bad Joker 2 did.
Wow. That could be a way of bringing comedy back at the theater, is just re-releasing old ones.
Yeah.
But you say it's got to be movies like Neighbors, 2010 movies. You don't think it's Ace Ventura. It's not.
No,
it's not Summer Rental with John Candy. You don't think that's the one to re-release.
Yeah, no, those movies are a little bit before our time.
Okay, City Slickers, you would say is a no-go, is a big re-release for the youngsters.
I've sadly never even heard of that movie before.
Wow. So okay, and this is going to be great for I'm sure Kirk Minahan is probably flipping a table over in his studio, or spinning the car off the road listening to you just say you've never heard of City Slickers. So one-armed push-ups, that doesn't mean anything to you. One-arm push-up, you don't know what this is.
I mean, it's something that's pretty difficult to do.
Okay,
but yeah,
but you don't think Oscars, you don't think Jack Palance doesn't ring a bell for you in terms of big comedy stars. Okay, interesting. Hello, nothing.
No.
Nothing. Okay.
Nope.
Bruno Kirby on a horse. It's not clicking for you. None of those words.
None of those work for me.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. All right. Well, good to know. I mean, this is the kind of research that studios need to hear, because there probably were studio executives who were like, oh, I love this studio comedy re-releases in the movies. Let's do it. City Slickers on the list, but they needed to hear that to you, City Slickers is not the way to go. There's no recognition. And Curly's Gold, you would say, is definite no way.
Yeah,
you got nothing there on Curly's Gold.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So things that, that's why me and Clayton have to go undercover next year on a college campus to learn all of this firsthand. Mm-hmm. And then we could sell what we find to the studios. It'll be a huge moneymaker. We got an email from wannabe oh boy Tyler. The subject is Gosling and Blunt's legacy. So Tyler writes, hey guys, Emily Blunt and Ryan Gosling dragged Fall Guy to $92 million domestic with Aaron Taylor Johnson getting third billing. Is that more impressive than being part of Barbenheimer? Thank you, wannabe oh boy Tyler. Okay, I mean, Aaron Taylor Johnson, this huge drag on any movie box office that he's in. He's Kraven. He's going to possibly help tank Nosferatu if the word gets out that he's in it. Fall Guy getting to $92 million despite Aaron Taylor Johnson. Yeah, what do you think about that? Is that a huge win for Gosling and Emily Blunt now that we know what a box office suck Aaron Taylor Johnson is?
No, because this was all pre Kraven Effect, because people had already think Kraven had come out bombed and forgot about it at this point. And again, that's another thing where I think Universal hid the fact that Aaron Taylor Johnson was in the film. I honestly forgot that he was until this email.
Right.
So that was another thing where people had completely forgot about Kraven at that point, because they thought it was released back in October of 23.
Okay. So you don't give them extra credit because you think they did a good enough job of hiding Aaron Taylor Johnson in that movie.
Yeah. I mean, it was all Gosling and Blunt everywhere.
Okay. Interesting thing to bring up. I mean, listen, if you're Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt's reps and you're negotiating their salaries for the next movie, I think it's worth bringing it up in the negotiation. Is that, hey, Fall Guy, we got it to $92 million despite Aaron Taylor Johnson being in the movie with them. So I think it's definitely something for their agents to negotiate with. Is you gotta get wannabe oh boy Tyler, read his email to the studio and say
that's all they need to hear.
Yeah, you got to give Gosling a little more. Look at the anchor he had around his neck on the Fall Guy last year. Mm-hmm. So thank you, Tyler, for that email. Got an email from wannabe oh boy AJ, of course, renamed. He used to be Austin, but of course we have the another Austin, and so this Austin has now renamed himself AJ. So wannabe oh boy AJ writes, subject non-rodent animation. Dear BO Boys, War of the Rohirrim is non-rodent animation. The rats do not need this cheese. The House of Mouse has no connection to this movie. It was doomed from the start. He says Kraven will outperform it. I think a Disney-backed rodent-starring kids movie might break every record in the book. So yeah, I mean, that's something we didn't even think of when it comes to this Lord of the Rings cartoon, is that any child even considering seeing this, it's a cartoon movie. And I think at no point did any of us think that there would be one child who would want to see this.
Yeah, definitely not. There's no way. This is definitely not cheese for rats.
No, it's the type of thing that the audience who went to see this, LOTR, the War for Rohirrim, if you were a rat, if you were a child and you ended up in this theater because you saw a cartoon, okay, it's a cartoon, mommy, daddy, bring me, please, cartoon, and you end up in that theater with the hardcore LOTR fans, that's got to be a terrifying experience for a child.
It's like a reverse Pixar adult. Instead of like with that one weird old overweight 50-year-old guy going into a room full of kids to watch the latest Pixar movie, this is an unsuspecting child walking into a room full of 30 overweight adults seeing the newest Lord of the Rings movie.
Yes, and in this situation, even though it is a cartoon, the overweight 30-year-old adults, they're in the right.
Yeah.
They should be there. That's their room. And the kid who wanders in there just because, cartoon movie, it's going to be all kids there. I'm going to go and it's going to be all my friends. And then they go in there and there's guys who used to work at an OTB and they're in that theater. It's on the kid. The kid made the mistake of going into that room.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel for them. I feel for any kids who ended up in a LOTR War for Rohirrim screening room because they saw a cartoon movie. But you know what? You learn your lesson. Not every cartoon is for you.
Yeah.
And those LOTR hardcore diehards, they might not live to see the next real LOTR movie. And this was their screening room. This was their screening room.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you, AJ, for bringing that up. And yeah, that is the mailbag right now. We've got a few more. We'll get to those on future episodes. So of course, everyone, we love getting your emails, theboboyspodcast @gmail.com. Send us your emails, your predictions, your observations, your diagnoses of the Kraven Effect or the Red One Effect. Let us know if you have it. But of course, if you have it, there's not much that is going to happen because you're not going to be covered.
Just listen to the BO Boys and write it out.
Write it out.
That's the one. Yeah, that's all we got for you.
Yeah, you're going to have to write it out. So, anything, Christopher, you want to let us know about what's going on with the social media? I mean, it seems like it's been really hopping. How has the launch of the BO Boys Instagram been going? I know that's the big news on social media the last month.
Launch of the Instagram has been going great.
Yeah.
We've been uploading some of the content we've had from those tours. If you guys couldn't make it, even though obviously it was the biggest tour ever.
Yep.
Sadly, for those few who missed out, catch some of the man on the street stuff on there. We're just going to keep uploading videos, and just make sure to follow the Instagram and the TikTok. Twitter is phasing out a little bit, but we do still use it, especially to let you guys know when new videos or new podcasts are up and everything. But yeah, we're just going to keep doing what we're doing.
Yes, I love it. I love the enthusiasm, and that was a huge launch. That was it. You got the promotion back at the New York City live show in early October or end of October. You got that promotion, and immediately, first project out of the gate, launched the BO Boys Instagram. And you nailed it. You nailed it. So kudos to you, our VP of interns. Of course, 5 stars on Apple Podcasts, and we are YouTubers. Hey guys.
Hey guys.
So you got to watch us on YouTube to get the full story. Again, can we see the Penn State hoodie?
Oh, of course. There we go. We are.
Me, always been, Christopher, of course, and Clayton. He's really getting into it now, I would say. He's getting into this Penn State thing, so good for him. Christopher, anything else that you want to let the wannabe-o boys, wannabe-o girls, wannabe-o people know about what you have going on, senior year? It's time to start the bidding war for your future employment. That
is true. I take any offers. Obviously, the highest bidder wins. So you definitely want to start off strong. I'd say at least most people are looking at least a 6-figure salary. Yeah. So that's the baseline for any prospective people out there. Just so you know. But yeah, I'm on the market.
Yeah. That you got to start at 6 figures, and you know. But you're saying doesn't matter the city, doesn't matter the job. It's highest dollar amount wins.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I love it. Just right out of the gate, all he cares about is greenbacks, and that's going to be what guides him for the rest of his life, and that's how it should be, Christopher.
Exactly.
So get your bids in. Of course, you could do it in the comments section of our at the BO Boys Pod social media account. So in the comments on our IG account, in the comments of our TikTok, you can start bidding there. You could, of course, bid at our email address, theboboyspodcast@gmail.com. So many ways to bid on, getting Christopher to work for your firm, for your company, for your whatever it is you do.
If the Broccolis don't want Aaron Taylor Johnson anymore, they can email us too. I'm just saying, there are options out there.
The thing is, you're putting Daniel Craig's face on the poster no matter what. So
So who cares who's actually playing James Bond?
Who cares who's playing him in the movie? Exactly. So there you go. So Christopher, thank you so much for joining us with Clayton's blessing. Great job co-hosting, and I would say there's nothing left to say. Nothing left to say. Except for until next time, we'll smell